Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to KeSPA Cup 2020. I told you a bit of a fib before we went to break, and that was that we were going to have a tiebreaker. We don't, because of course head-to-head does belong to Hanwha Life. They were able to win the best of one against Gen.G, and that puts them in confirmed second place. We actually already have our qualified teams, and now KT can see whether they can go undefeated moving into their bye,
which is
into the next round.
Basically what this is all about is, you know, do they go undefeated? Because T1's not really.
Yeah.
They're not really going for too much here.
No, exactly. And I think, you know, T1's Academy roster does get to now, you know, strut their stuff one last time. However, they
play Yone. What? Why
well,
not?
exactly. Maybe ban Ornn and then play Yone.
Yes.
Maybe that'll be a better look for them. But you know, they do have some players with a lot of promise. They just haven't quite found themselves on the Rift just yet. Let's reintroduce KT one more time, because I know none of us are excited. However, they did play well. They are going to completely revert their roster, though. They've just been playing around. In fact, everyone who was on the Rift before is just going to sit back down again.
Yep.
I believe they did. Did they do this last time, where they just like basically picked everyone up and threw them back? So yeah, that's what's going to happen one more time. So Castle, Gideon, Vikla, Noah, and Rebel. I think Noah and Rebel were good. When they played the first time.
Yeah, Noah played phenomenally when they played against Gen.G.
Yeah.
You know, it was overall quite a solid performance from him. He played Ezreal, and he was an absolute beast on that pick. I believe it was maybe the first Ezreal that we've had.
Yeah, I think so. We haven't really been seeing much of the old Ezreal.
Been deep proud. It was a nice composition from KT. They strangely were able to get their hands on Akali. So they had that in the mid lane, Aatrox and top, Kindred in the jungle with Ezreal Alistar bot. It was just hyper aggressive there from the side of KT in that game. Now they get ready to go up against T1 to see if these guys can have some better results than what we've seen.
Yeah. So it will be the same T1 Academy roster that you're used to. Of course, many of us know Roach, Mowgli, and Miru. Berserker has been around solo queue for quite some time. He's been with the T1 organization for a very long time. But we didn't really see that much from him. Asper, I believe, was on the Gen.G Academy roster in the past.
It's a name that should be known, at least loosely, amongst the LCK fandom, not necessarily because of his, plays in the LCK, but just he's been around with some of the top teams and their, sub-rosters and whatnot for a while.
Yep. Hoyt also there, of course, formerly of Damwon, and now sitting behind these players here on the T1 Academy roster. So looking forward to seeing whether he'll get some, he won't actually ever get some time on the Rift, because in fact this is their last game. So true. A little bit of a shame there, but let's get into the draft and see whether anything fun happens, because this is just for pride. And I think that T1 are really going to try and give it their all, because this is their chance to, hop onto a bigger stage and prove themselves. And look, they haven't had Bengi for too long, but it is really cool that even their Academy roster has such a storied player as their head coach. So expect to see the T1 Academy roster get better and better as the year goes on. Samira, Lucian, and the Akali band on blue side is actually quite interesting. A lot of what we would assume red side bands would be actually coming out on blue, but the Pantheon, which is the other necessary band, is going to come forward here. As Mowgli heading towards one of his old favorites here, as the Olaf is hovered. It's of course not going to be, they can't do any research from KT's first match, because in fact that was a completely different team.
Yeah. It's going to be changing everything up completely, but Olaf is going to be safe no matter what. Let's go ahead, lock that one in, trying to sway the Graves from coming through for Gideon. But with the Ornn left open, it will be the first pick for Castle, as well as the Alistar, so the Cal priority does stay nice and firm here.
Yep. A little bit of a shame that we haven't got to see Blank yet. I don't know whether he's actually, with KT just yet. That signing did happen.
Right, I was actually
very recently
about to inquire about that. I had heard that he had joined in.
He did. So
Agent was 612.
Yeah, exactly. However, I think that Blank gets a really bad rap.
He does.
He was very good on T1 or on SKT at the time, but you know, it was just bad circumstances for Blank, and then goes over to the LJL and just dominates.
Yeah, I mean,
just
there was
dominates over and over again.
I mean, he does get memed on, and obviously I bring up the Agent 612, meme. That was a very unfortunate game from him where he wasn't able to get much of anything done at all. But for a period of time, as you mentioned, he was the finisher for SKT. He would come out, and then he was the one to help.
We're doing it! Alrighty.
But yeah, he was the one who would come in to finish the series for them to guarantee the win. So he, still was quite a strong player in the middle of his career in the LCK, and now he's going to be back. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all carries over. The second half of the draft after the Yone is selected for KT. You can see Aatrox and Talia taken away. T1. Let's see if they want to just throw 2 jungle bans out there and try to further limit the pool. I think that's probably the best play.
Yeah, I'd get rid of the Talia and the Nidalee. That's almost a guarantee in my mind. Make sure that there's not easy access. I guess Lilia still exists, so KT are actually fine with the choices that they have.
I mean, there's the Lilia. They could also just go back to the Kindred that they played.
They could. It does give them a bit too much AD, which is what I'm a little bit concerned about. As Castle,
I don't think they're concerned about that at all.
Well, actually, they may not be concerned just in general. And they also have the Ornn this time, so yeah. T1 don't really have the answers.
They will ban the Lilia, though, so looking to mitigate the amount of AP jungler presence that could possibly come out. Something like the Elise is still available. We did see that yesterday, but of course, if you want to go for an AP jungler, why go for the spider? Would go for the cat.
Yeah, it was always that was the rock and the hard place that they were stuck between, right? It's like, we need to ban 3 junglers, and we can only ban 2 junglers, so I guess they get one of them. As Berserker thinking about what he wants to do, this would be an old Gen.G favorite, actually, if they were to lock in the Kai'Sa with the Gragas alongside it. And that is what they're going to do. Of course, Roach can flex that Gragas towards the top lane. Mowgli could play it, theoretically, if they want to put Olaf in somewhere weird, as that's a Vladimir, and so that it will guarantee that Gragas is heading towards bottom lane, and we'll have Roach on the Vlad into the Ornn. This is another way that you can deal with Ornn, and that is by scaling up alongside him rather than trying to put him down early.
Yeah. I believe first Vladimir of the tournament as well. So
we up to 56?
Yeah, we continue to see some new champions come out.
Noah back on his Ezreal, yeah.
Another look at Noah on the Ezreal, which is going to be quite exciting given the performance that he gave us last time. I mean, this guy was really proficient on this pick. I mean, you would expect that if people are going to be, ADCs coming into the LCK, even if they're a substitute, they're going to know how to play Ezreal. But this guy, he certainly did impress in their series versus Gen.G.
Yeah. And Miru back on, not necessarily one of the champions that he's very practiced at. Miru was a phenomenal Galio. Just fantastic on the pick during this year's LCK. Had some really big moments, actually. I was very, very happy to see it. But on the Syndra, and every mid laner can play Syndra. Vikla probably wishing that he was his brother right now, because Windwall's so good against Syndra. But he's playing Yone, because Yone's way cooler. Let's be real. Came out, recently.
I mean, Windwall's great, but why not just kill him instead?
Yeah, or have like a million dashes. Yeah.
Just avoid everything.
Yeah.
Dodge the scatter of the week. Just use Unbound Soul and jump over there for a little bit.
Yeah. I've learned about as much there is to learn. I've played a bit of Yone as well, but still, when he's played, it's very hard to recognize exactly what he's doing.
Yes.
At a lot of these instances.
You got to be careful. I mean, Yone versus Syndra was the matchup that we had when Jovi brought out Yone.
Yeah. He trashed the lane, actually.
He did. The Unbound Soul can be a bit predictable when you go to snap back from that. Can set you up to get stunned, but let's see what happens as we jump into our last game of the evening.
Welcome to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for the final game of the day. Of course, KeSPA Cup continues tomorrow, even though it is Christmas Day in Korea. This is our long-standing tradition that we have.
Oh, yeah.
It will be Wolf and myself this year, bringing us the Christmas broadcast. I believe I did it with LS last year and with Papa the year before, so I feel like I'm the KeSPA Christmas guy these days. Maybe you'll have to come through for for next year's Christmas broadcast, just to keep it happening as Noah has to blow a flash very, very early. Mowgli flashing. This is the most Mowgli thing you can possibly do.
Okay, well, he picks up the axe. He does land for the slow.
Oh,
Noah, is he going to have to try to heal, or does he just hold on to it? I think he's going to pop it. Undertow's going to connect. He should have just let himself die.
Yeah,
hold
that
on
heal
to a
was
summoner
so
spell.
unnecessary.
Oh, me, oh my. The aggressive invade, they find Noah in the river, and they take him down for the first blood. That's going to be a steal away on the blue. Starting red side, Gideon can make a quick rotation over to try and take the blue. He's getting a bit of assistance from the Ornn for the leash. So he very well should be able to stop himself from getting pre-buffed.
Yeah. And actually, if we remember last time Mowgli played, he had a really horrible time in the jungle. So definitely a way better start here for his Olaf. This bottom lane also in a terrible spot here for KT, having to wait for this wave to come down. And Ezreal Alistair doesn't really offer very much, if at all, in the earlier stages. So this Gragas is going to have a lot more value. Aftershock, of course, meaning that that Pulverize does basically nothing. It's a bit misnamed at level 1. As we'll see whether they can salvage this lane. Of course, Mystic Shot pretty good at farming from range, so they'll have that wave in position relatively soon. But it is going to be level 2 much earlier here. And the barrels are going to start raining in. As Miro does find a very nice shot there onto Vikla, but Gideon jumping on over.
Unbound Soul comes out, pushing forward. That's going to be the Ignite down. Dashes up, gets a knock up underneath the tower. Then you see one more shot. Gideon will have it. Great little turnaround here to get the Yone forward. Get a second kill now onto Gideon. And trying to turn around the not so great start to the game that KT had.
Yeah, actually really well played by Vikla. As we're going to have a look at this one more time. Vikla took a lot of damage right before this fight. As you can see, it's a great scat of the week, but just a slight overextension from Miro. And it was basically all she wrote. Flash comes out, was actually flashed very, very well, but unfortunately couldn't create enough distance, and the red buff just too strong. So already, KT clapping back, not letting T1 get away with that great start that they had for themselves. That's a steal on the Rift Scuttler as well. Castle down here as in goes Roach, flashes forward. I believe the Tides of Blood didn't actually land as the pounce comes through and he gets out. That's what we call a whoopsie there from our Vladimir player, and KT just get away scot-free and steal the Rift Scuttler.
I mean, not only that, but Roach just burns the flash for absolutely nothing. They don't get anything. They don't get the Scuttle Crab. Gideon had already previously used his flash on that during that gank there in the mid lane, so doesn't have to burn one in that exchange to get away. So they just get that away from the Vladimir, making him that much more vulnerable of a gank target for the future here until that comes back up.
Yep. Okay. Noah and Rebel getting that wave back into a better position. Still behind a little bit of farm, but certainly could be worse. Especially seeing just how much control Asper and Berserker had early on in this game. Rebel's going to leave the lane, though, as Mowgli could be in trouble. Vikla, however, misses basically everything. Will bounce back, as you can see, but Mowgli getting smacked down by Gideon. This spear could be painful, but not going to land it there onto Mowgli or anything like that. As Asper's going to move up looking for Rebel, finds him, decent pulverize. Did have the headbutt at the ready, so wasn't exactly in too much trouble. There's Noah now looking for a reset.
A lot of skirmishing over a Scuttle Crab. Taking the dragon now spawning. Mowgli chucks out the axe, calls over for Asper to assist him, so they will be going for this. It seems like it will just be a Mount Drake picked up for free.
Yep, early Drakes for the Olaf, something that he loves to do. Not bad at all. I like this Cosmic Blade skin, by the way. Bit of a fan. It's, the Tides of Blood especially look really cool.
Kind of might get a little bit of a wizard. Right? The orb that he's holding.
That's cool. Oh, bit of a knock up there.
Good pushback.
Yeah, third Q out of the Yone. But Gideon just looking to steal some chicken. And Olaf not too psyched about that one.
Fight's not up for the Olaf. We'll go ahead and get taken away. Now they're going to go in. Miro, such low mana, trying to run away. Mowgli, yep, will get taken down. a chance to survive. Rebel, however, now in a bad spot with low HP. Makes his way over to the wall, but doesn't have the Hex Flash available, so will get taken down. Vikla under fire. A couple more shots will finish him off. The heal comes in. Get that extra burst of mobility. Miro with the auto attack will just go ahead and finish him off. Gideon barely escapes underneath the tower. Had Asper had a little bit of extra mana to throw out a barrel, likely could have been seeing another kill come through, but another overstep there from KT.
Yep, it feels like it's a Yone problem. I don't know. Just often over-aggression and baiting the rest of the team, and that's basically what happened there. It was looking okay. I mean, aggressive steals when you feel like you have an advantage in the jungle, it's understandable. But Asper comes in at exactly the right time, and when your bottom lane is this far behind, I think, you know, overextending in the bottom side jungle is just a really bad move. Yep. The cow is well and truly going to die. It's a, you know, decent teleport in from Roach there, and will help him in his lane also. So the follow-up was great from T1, but I think the mistake was well and truly in the hands of KT.
Yeah, so it becomes, I believe, a 2-for-1 there for T1 in their favor. Had they lost Gideon, that would have been absolutely catastrophic for KT. So holding on to the Nidalee, not giving up that extra kill does help them out just a little bit, but now it's going to be engaged. Just the Unbound Soul comes out, takes that back over towards the tower safely. Just trying to skirmish as best as possible.
Yep. Whenever I see Yone go in like that and get the knock-up, I like always just expect a Yasuo ult to come out for some reason. Certainly does bait me a lot. However, decent trading here from Vikla, and you can see he's destroying this lane. Miru hasn't really been able to find his footing back in after the early death. And so behind about 21 farm at this point in time. And, you know, waves pushed in top lane. Gideon has all of the positional advantage here in this river. And so despite the fact that that little skirmish was lost, okay, ulti going to be used here from Vikla. Finds the knock up there onto Miru. He's not going to find any of these orbs as he jumps back like you were talking about. Unbound Soul. Does have a timer on it. It's a little bit more forgiving than good old Zoe. However, still, you must return.
Yep. Otherwise, he would have loved to have stayed that far forward.
But I mean, that sort of trade is always going to work out for him. As Roach not going to get knocked up. As you can see, Castle just... Castle or Castle? What do you reckon? I think, is Castle an Australian thing?
Castle?
Castle.
Oh, we say Castle.
You say Castle? And then Castle is, that's a British thing? Oh, I think that's why, as an Australian, I'm very confused about that word, because, you know, English is our, I guess, theoretical language that we speak.
It was ours once upon a time as well.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise American English wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've always been a little bit perplexed about how to correctly pronounce it. So I'm just going to do it both ways, probably. It's just based on how I'm feeling. It's Hex Splash. Oh, going to come in.
Yeah, but Pulverize nicely done, but the flash away instantly is there for Miro. And just Vikla not really able to get on top of him quickly enough to try to find the kill. He's such low HP. He's going to Unbound Soul. He's going to charge forward. Can't get him though with the W, so we'll snap back.
Yep. Also gives away Asper's positioning there. Some of the value that you can have with the Unbound Soul, just deciding to go underneath the turret for a little while. So Miri just continues to struggle. Mowgli and Asper having to pick up this wave as well. Will mean that Syndra will fall even further behind. Now, hanging around in the area. Okay, not going to find too much more there. As Castle, he's had the shove for most of the time here in this lane. Remember, Roach did teleport down, so that's how you can explain away the CS gap. Is now Berserker in a whole host of trouble. Noah down here, he does have his Manamune completed. Or Manamune, depending on how you want to say it. He does have to be a little bit careful. The item lead going to be hurting here. But he's got a fair bit of money in the bank, I believe. Let's see whether they're going to be fighting around this Ocean Drake. That's going to be coming up right now. Olaf is in the river. You can see Nidalee around the area as well. And if they can get a pick down here, we'll guarantee that Drake. Decent poke there onto Vikla.
He's Another refillable potion, though. Just go ahead and take care of that.
Yeah, a couple of stacks of that one too, so he's in no real danger at the moment. We'll have that flash available very, very soon, and you can see Gideon just going to start off this Drake T1. Not really in the area to try and make this one work. Has going to find the knock up there as ulti comes through from Vikler, and that's a very dead Miru.
Right on the edge of the ulti, but it connects. He gets placed behind the Syndra, and does manage to confirm that kill. Nice little takeaway there. Good pickup. Olaf's just going to be waiting in the mid lane to go ahead and catch the minion. We will have an Infernal Soul to close out our final series of the evening, Atlas.
Indeed. I like it. It's the more fun one.
Looking for the engage on Noah, but at this point, he's going to be quite safe. Using those arcane shifts. Yep. He's down in CS, but that is more than being made up for by Vikla in the mid lane.
Yeah, Vikler is just massive.
As it turns out, Yone is just very good at CSing. What he does with it after that is a question mark, but...
Hey, remember, they don't have the Ornn on the other side. This is the perfect Yone experience.
True.
As the cleave comes through onto Miru.
They know he doesn't have a flash. They're looking to abuse that, and they absolutely will. He tries to escape. Gideon's there, however, with the arrival of Mowgli, they have to bail out.
Yeah.
The Ragnarok pop, the undertow connects, and they turn it around on its head. A great roam down from Mowgli there, exactly when he needed to be. Saves his mid laner and kills the enemy jungler simultaneously.
And also, I mean, there was no real need for Gideon to be there. He didn't offer anything to that that gank attempt.
Nope.
The other two made it out just fine, so he just basically went underneath the enemy turret to die, which is quite sad.
I think he was so focused on taking down the Syndra that he didn't quite realize that Mowgli was there.
Yeah. But these things happen. It's fine.
Yeah. It's called tunnel vision.
Vikler just going to cleave this wave down and now look towards a roam. Aspa gonna have to flash.
That's fine. Pulverize for flash. You take those trades any day of the week.
Oh yeah. Rep off available. Let's see where the Mowgli heads over there. Now he was looking for a bit of a gank towards the top side, but will not find any joy. KT with not the most massive of leads. It's only about 700 gold right now. However, it still feels like they have the game in a position that they like right now.
Surprised that he's going to give the top one chicken instead of a red buff off the bat. Gets over the wall, gets a little bit of damage on Asper, but it's not going to be too much. Come forward there from Berserker. The cast into the wall, pins Rebel for a little bit. Ult's not quite up for the Alistar. Body Slam won't connect. He gets the Pulverize onto the Gragas, sends it back up the river a bit, gets a little bit of mobility. Starts spritzing his way out. Juice on the undertow, but yeah. Might just come through and he will be taken down. Hopefully finding the kill. Nikla right in the thick of things. The Unbound Soul wouldn't take him out to safety if it's still within the pit. He does fall. Vladimir finding the kill. That's going to be a 2-for-0 now. T1. And they get 63 and they barely scrape by a gold lead.
Yeah, they found it.
Well, they're going to stretch that.
I believe the Rift Herald was timing out or something like that, which is why Gideon decided to put it down in the mid lane, but it's going to be entirely wasted. In fact, giving gold over to T1 at this stage, so that's a bit of a yikes right there. T1, like you say, do gather themselves the gold lead. And Berserker sitting on a casual 0-0-4 and slowly but surely getting himself into that hyper carry status. This was just, you know, Vikler missing a whole bunch of abilities and then ulting randomly into the river to try and join this fight. I think that ult possibly could have been used more effectively.
I think it's because he saw Roach was coming down from the top lane, so he wanted to create as much distance between he and the Vladimir/Syndra as possible, rejoin into the squad, but then they just end up getting completely segregated from each other. You can see Noah zoned up into the jungle, just offering up Mystic shots, but now he's completely outranged. They lost the Alistar, they lose their front line. Vikla is just stuck in the pit and nowhere to go. Even if he could have escaped over the wall, he would have been completely surrounded.
Yeah.
So T1 are just able to scoop up the kills, finding 2 in the fight, and continuing to keep things rather close here. You can see Roach starting to do a good job of out-trading this Ornn.
Yeah, really having a better time right now. KeSPA does have his Sunfire Aegis completed. Gale Force is done for Vikler also. As we'll see where Noah's going to get as far as his itemization. Looks like the Trinity Force is going to be coming in as item number 2. And Berserker, we'll see where his mine's going to be also as he is another gank. Vikler just, most likely going to be taken down here. And that's that last tick of Ignite that will do it from Miru.
Yeah, as soon as the Ignite came out, it's just like, okay, man, he's just gonna die now. Get a little bit of nice chip damage onto the tower. Asper and Mowgli roaming around the side to cut off Gideon, maybe even try to pop him with the explosive cask. Now we'll just be playing the zoning Gragas, maximizing the damage we can get onto the tower. Yeah. I will say, I mean, best thing about Asper so far in this game has been his roams. This guy has been on point. He's been up to the mid lane when he needs to be. Occasionally in that top river as well. Eternal Drake, he gets snatched up by T1. 2-1 now, the Dragon count.
Yeah, very nicely done. Knowledge there from KT, but there's nothing that they can do about it. Vikla still making his way out of base, so very good capitalization of the map state here for T1. They will wrestle back even further control at this point. Looks like they ain't going down without a fight. Yeah, Vikla just not offering anything, does basically no damage back or anything like that. And so the Yone, yes, he's got a heck of a lot of farm, but other than that, not able to offer too much here in this early to mid game that we found ourselves in.
I mean, you can hit minions real hard, but when it comes down to some of these members of T1, you're going to have a pretty hard time. Vladimir's got a lot of sustains, so taking him out, it's going to be very difficult. Of course, you've got the Gragas as well as the Olaf, who are very tanky in their own right. So unless you can get on top of somebody like, Berserker or Miru for free without any kind of peel coming through from their supports or junglers, it's going to be increasingly difficult to try and get kills unless you can scoop up some more items. And even then, as we saw, it doesn't necessarily mean anything for the Yone player. So, told to go for it. Hulk's going to come out, does get the knock up. Miru falling low. Can they finish him? The heal comes through, even with the Ignite rolling. It is enough to keep him sustained, so he'll yet again escape.
Damn. All right, Miru actually starting to find some things here. This part of the game, it was looking like he was going to be completely shut out, but holds on to his life there. He's going to go back home. Leandri's is completed, and this Rift Herald might be a little bit more useful than the one that KT threw down, and now Gideon struggling with this.
Hello?
Yeah, okay, in goes Rebel. Ragnarok immediately thrown down here as Roach nails the flash that time. Blast Cone, not exactly the best friend of Rebel right there, who survives for quite a lot longer than we were expecting. Vikla is going to come on forward. They'll grab the kill onto Mowgli. Roach in trouble there as well, and he is going to be picked up as the Soul Unbound drags the Yone back. Berserker is exhausted, but maybe that exhaust could have been used earlier for a bit more value. That right on the edge. Asper gets the slowest True Shot Barrage. We're going to try and take down Berserker, who will flash to get to relative safety. That was a much better fight for KT, however, and Vikla does have position in that mid lane.
It's still a 2-for-2 at the end of the day, so, I mean, they're able to equalize things on that exchange. I called it from the beginning. Mowgli, what exactly are you going for here? Was all by himself. Roach a little bit later on the rotation. Now they're trying to find a pick onto Vikla. Does have the flash available should he need to use it. Unbound Soul takes it back into the cast.
Just really wanted some of that as he flashes towards Miru and just dies.
Yeah, I mean, he knew that the timer was going to get popped. He was going to end up back in that position no matter what, so he wanted to try to use it sooner rather than later. Maybe surprise the Gragas so he wouldn't trigger the explosive cast and then he could get away. So he's kind of put himself in a really rough position, and that is the issue with that ability, is that you are always going to go back to point one. But we'll rewind back over to the jungle, where it's 2v4, basically. Castle is the next one to arrive.
Yeah, and Roach, shows that he can nail these combos, right? But the pull was used very early, and he's just not exactly a tanky boy. But Berserker getting kills, not actually falling in the fight. Yeah. That's the dangerous news for KT fans.
I mean, it's just such an odd occurrence there. I mean, them going 2-for-2 is good because they, don't operate necessarily at a deficit. But the thing to keep in mind is that was effectively a 5v4. All 5 members at one point of KT were present, whereas Miru was all the way down to the bottom side of the blue river, or blue jungle. So, they barely managed to get that couple of kills, elude them at the end. They were trying to find Berserker. Had they gotten him, it would have been a really good fight for KT, but they're unable to find that KeSPA. And then, of course, immediately after that, Vikla dies. So, it just it keeps compounding these issues.
That's not great news. battle here towards the top side. Roach with his Rift Make completed. Some Sork Boots building towards as much ability haste as he can possibly get his hands on, much as a Vladimir's way. The rest of KT now milling about. 30 seconds until this Infernal Drake, which is where the next fight's going to be, as Vikla...
is deep in right now.
Yeah, they will. Okay, not quite able to find Mowgli just there, but he steps on a trap that allows Gideon to get in. Ragnarok is popped, and there's the ulti. It's going to get Vikla over there. They pick up that kill as, okay, Asper trying to get himself out. Roach looking for that flank like you were talking about, but yeah, will have to use that pull at some point. Headbutt Pulve comes down. He decides to hold on to it. The rest of his team are just going to leave him, though. And Roach will be taken down. Vikla gets another one in the fight.
Yeah, and now KT, they're in the driver's seat. They can basically decide what they want to do. They know Berserker's up near the top side of the map, but he's dangerously low. It seems like he'll just be sticking around the mid lane, maybe trying to knock down the turret while they simultaneously take the Infernal Drake, making it 2-2 in that regard. Just need to get some gold back on the board. They take a slight lead. The turret will help bump that up even more.
Yep, Divine Sundera was where Noah decided to go to as well.
Yeah.
I actually like that choice on the Ezreal. Doesn't like attack speed that much just because he gets so much with his passive and likes to be able to weave in his Mystic shots. So may as well go for an extra armor pen if you can.
It still seems to be a bit split when you look at the challenger community in Korea as far as what is the better item. There's still going to be people who are die-hard about the Trinity Force, but the Divine Sunder, I think it is a bit more stock standard right now for the meta and just how Ezreal is played.
Yep. Also synergizes so well with Conqueror as well. You sort of just get better Conqueror.
Yeah.
So taking that that keystone. I like actually the fact that there are now basically 2 Trinity Force style items, and you can use your brain a bit more as to which one you decide to do. This is going to be that replay Mowgli overstepping, and this was Roach trying to go for that sick Vladimir flank and then realizing, hang on a second, guys, this ain't gonna work, is it?
There was a little bit of potential, like a modicum of potential for them to actually turn this fight with Roach in the backside, but a spear and a Mystic Shot connect onto Berserker and they just take him out of the fight. He barely survives with about a fourth of his HP. And did that not happen, we might have actually seen T1 try to press the issue if the Vladimir could have gotten in there, landed the ult on multiple targets. But Berserker does not really being able to avoid those projectiles means the potential of that fight is just completely nullified, and Roach just has to sack his life and his teleport.
Well, we'll see whether KT can actually use this to wrest control back in this game, because at the moment it is all tied up between these 2 squads. Getting the Drake, definitely good, but it's only going to even things out. See who's going to be able to get those stacks sorted out. But this game is a lot closer than I think a lot of people were expecting, to be honest.
Yeah.
This T1 Academy roster is playing a lot better today than their first showing. It was a little bit of a rough one. Just shows that, the more time that you get on big stages, the more comfortable you are going to get. And a lot of these players have, of course, played in the LCK before. Roach, Mowgli, and Miro, of course. But when you're playing together like this, it is a different story as Miro decides to kill Yone. Vikla's dead.
Yep. Just got exploded.
Yeah, real dead. Real dead. Is going to have that fun ranged CC item, which name I always forget. Like that one though. It's the second one that he has. The one that looks like a voodoo doll, I think. In my brain, it looks like a voodoo doll.
You talking about Gragas?
No, Syndra.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the funny voodoo doll item.
My laptop is dying.
I can have a double check, but I kind of enjoy not knowing, personally. Enjoyable time for me. If something happens, you just let everyone know. Yeah. Horizon Focus.
Horizon Focus. Okay.
It's a bit of, I don't know whether I'm a massive fan of the name. I do like what it does. I think it's a cool item personally. The idea of being able to tag people and hold on to vision, especially when you're looking for picks on a champion like Syndra.
Let's watch a Yone die.
The gameplay button is pressed.
All right, we watched the Yone die.
There we go. Thanks for the replay, guys. Yep, really needed that one. That was real good. Okay, we do have the very divine Sundera.
Ooh.
It's yeah.
Just cranked it up to 11.
The Divine Devastator. Something like that. What do you reckon? Divine Devastator, do you like that?
That's not a terrible name.
The Real Good Demolisher.
That's a terrible name.
Okay. I'll go back to the drawing board. What about Night Harvester? What are we going to call that one?
Yeah, I had that conundrum with Valdez the other day. Do you harvest the night, or do you only harvest at night?
The Evening Farmer.
Like, you know, if there was a name of a Victorian era serial killer like Jack the Ripper, it was the Night Harvester, you would suspect that he only strikes at night.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So is it just somebody who harvests only at night, or do you somehow harvest the night itself?
That's a really good point. We should talk to Gideon. Buying this item, how does it make you feel? Do you want to take the night to be your own?
Yeah. You feel like you're possessing the night, or do you just...
Or do you just really want to find some apples at nighttime?
Well,
Roach is going to be able to go into his pool, but I don't know whether he's going to be able to create enough distance. There's the flash forward. Vikla picks up the kill. Goes back to his Unbound Soul as Berserker. Gets a lot of damage in there with the Acathian Rain. Can't chase down as the Horn is blown. Mowgli getting a fair bit of damage there. Noah's at full health, though. So Mowgli not going to be able to come through. And in fact, Noah's just a gatekeeper on this Ezreal. Make sure that everyone can get out. And they're going to rotate over to the Baron. Walk over a ward. This is dangerous because they don't exactly have the biggest health bars. They have taken down Asper and Roach, though. So it's a 3 versus 5. You're fishing. Looking for some of these stuns, but Scatter the Weak does absolutely nothing. Castle's still very, very tanky. Diving on forward, yeah, exactly right. There is still Smite Steal potential. Vikla dives in though, locks down the Syndra, and that's a Ragnarok, but it's not going to be an Olaf that's capable of doing anything to stop this. The teleport from Roach as he's boosted in his pool form, just trying to get the heck out of there as Noah, with a big old shield, is going to be able to stay alive. True Shot Barrage so close to locking down Mowgli, and KT have taken control of the game.
I mean, what an absolute mess of a fight. Vikla dying to the Baron at the end of it all. So much damage dealt, and then Baron claims the final blow.
That seems like a real Vikla thing to do based on how this game has gone.
Turn around on the back end of the Baron, however, as the recalls come out, it's 2 down low with the members of KT, so they cannot try to compete for this Infernal Drake. So a second will get picked up by T1 in the end, but we'll take another look at how this all started, because it kind of begins and ends with Roach almost dying.
Yeah, so it looked like...
Die here,
he does, and it's mainly because Vikla lands this really sexy ult.
Yep.
Asper going to go down there as well, but you can see these health bars very, very low. And so it felt like this was going to be a dangerous Baron, but managing to get themselves healed back up. And Vikla pretty heroic with this shutdown onto Miru. You mentioned the Unbound Soul, and the Baron gets very mad at the extremely squishy Yone.
Yeah, Berserker does his damage to try to turn things around here on the back end with the re-arrival of Roach. It's a lot of damage in onto Noah, but just shielding comes through. There's not enough damage that they can output to try and get some turnaround kills in the fight. So all in all, in the end, KT will be able to finish that fight with 4 Baron buffs, pushing in, looking for this inner turret in the bottom lane.
Well, Noah's going to very comfortably collect that one. KT will reaffirm their gold lead. Roach trying to defend as T1 well and truly on the back foot. Somehow that was the shot landed onto Mowgli. Gideon taking a lot of damage there. Primal Surge going to help him out. You see Rebel going down extraordinarily low, but Miru's dead. Look at all of these knockups that are landing forward. The Searing Charge just completely collapsing Asper. Castle as well being a great frontline as now Vikla. His Unbound Soul is going to get him out of there just fine, and Noah is basically frontlining, dives forward, will pick up the triple as Roach falls down, and that'll be all she wrote. KT going 4-0 in the group stage of the KeSPA Cup. And they're in, you know, the group with Hanwha Life. We thought Hanwha were really going to come out swinging. But no, that wasn't the tail of the tape, and KT owning first place here. Head-to-head going over to Hanwha, getting them through, but at a 2-2 scoreline, not what we were expecting. And and KT are going to join Damwon as the winners of the group, this time in Group B.
And they close it out 4-0 with the second roster. They take the veterans away. They bring in the new blood. They bring in Noah yet again. He plays the Ezreal. By the end, he hit his stride. You know, a lot closer than I think we would have anticipated.
I mean, this was like KT Academy versus T1 Academy, basically.
Sure.
So I guess it is, you know, bound to be much closer than I guess a lot of people were expecting.
The baby telecom war.
Yeah, it was. It was. And look, a lot of the play did sort of insinuate a lot of that, but I think there's a lot to take away from KT and from T1's gameplay that was very, very good. Even if they don't have that sort of well-oiled machine mentality that a lot of our LCK teams have, there is a lot of potential from these players.
Yeah, there certainly is. And I'm excited to see if KT is going to continue experimenting with the roster as the actual 2021 LCK season goes on, or if this is just going to be something for the KeSPA Cup to get these guys some stage experience. I would love if they would actually be a bit more fluid with the roster and see how that evolves, and see if they can get specific plays that they want to go for, specific compositions that they want to go for, where they bring in the likes of Noah or swap out for Gideon or something like that. So I'm curious to see the continued evolution of the squad. But for now, KT, they do look good. This was definitely a sloppier game, a lot of mistakes. I think that if you replace the Yone with just about anything else that's stock standard in the mid lane, it probably cleans up the game a bit. Yone kind of lends to being a much messier play style because he's so erratic and he's so all over the place. But it's still good to see them being able to bounce back after some near throws in this I keep wanting to say series, some near throws in this game, and be able to conquer T1 in the end.
Yeah, I actually think that, the fact that they were able to give these guys some extra stage time, like you were talking about, is definitely good. I think that the top side of the map, in the first iteration of KT that we saw against Hanwha today, I think you'd probably want to keep that the way that it is. Those players looked very, very solid in that match. However, I think, like you were talking about, Noah and Rebel both look very, very strong, and it differs so much from the hybrid play style as well.
Sure.
Hybrid sort of demands your attention. He reminds me of an Uzi style of player that makes the game about himself and then wins, right? Like, he does like to take a lot of the onus and the responsibility for taking a victory in the game, and then demands certain things from the rest of his players when they're playing around these skirmishes and team fights, whereas Noah, much more of that facilitator. And I think, like, the epitome of that is the fact that he's played Ezreal a couple of times in this tournament so far, and Ezreal is that guy. Yeah. He is the guy that I'm just happy to chill by myself. You guys make those sick plays, and that's why Vikla is able to do crazy stuff, running away on his Yone and getting work done, and Gideon's diving on in there on the Nidalee, and it's more messy, but that's the play style that they're allowed to play with a bottom lane that is a bit different. So checking out some of these highlights, this was I just like watching Yone, right? He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
But he's not necessarily proving that it's a guaranteed win by any means, no matter who's piloting him so far this tournament.
Yeah, I think there might be some more things to be figured out when it comes down to how to maximize and master the Yone for professional play. Had some fancy moments, but he also had some egg on his face from time to time. This is one of those ones where it seems a bit questionable to try to go for the ultimate there, but with Roach rotating down, just kind of needed to collapse with the rest of the squad. This is one of the messier times for KT. They completely allow themselves to get split apart with Gideon in the center, the two down near the bottom. Noah has to jump over the top, they lose out on the All-Star, etc., and it all just begins to fall apart from there, with T1 securing an Infernal Dragon.
Vikla flashed in. Very strange.
Sometimes you just gotta, sometimes you just gotta eat for it. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes you're feeling it, and he was definitely feeling it. And he didn't stop. Some people get tilted in moments like that. Vikla definitely not. This guy just wants to go aggressive at every single moment. Doesn't matter. He can see through the egg. There can be so much egg on his face, it doesn't matter.
It comes with the territory of playing Yone or Yasuo or Master Yi. You just keep throwing your body out there to see if you get a kill or see if you die. Let's do it repeatedly.
That was an example of him dying, by the way, guys.
Yes, it was. But then he gets a kill.
And this was actually dope.
Yep.
The way that he played it out.
This is Noah showing that he knows all the timings here for Ezreal for his wind-ups, and when his abilities are going to land, so gets the Gragas straight out of the Zonias.
Yeah, very comfortably. This just don't watch when Vikla goes back to his Soul Unbound. That's the bad news.
And
he
cut
did
the
manage. He got the kill. He got the kill. Stop watching. We should have like put a black bar up there so that we couldn't see. But this was the confirmation of the Baron. This is actually a really good series of plays from KT as well. And when these aren't necessarily players that have the most stage experience or the most experience playing together as well, it is really, really good to see that, you know, the second tier of talent here in Korea is this good.
Yeah.
And same can be said on T1's side. This honestly felt like a game that could go either way.
Oh, for sure.
Shout out to Berserker as well, who I think had one of his better showings so far here in the KeSPA Cup. So we do have to say goodbye to T1 after this. However, certainly going out much better than they were on their first day.
Oh, for sure. This is much closer than either of the series that we saw them play. I mean, Gen.G was very comfortably ahead, you know, in that series versus T1. So for them to show up like this versus KT Rolster, even against, you know, the substitute players, it was still pretty good.
Yeah, really, really nice. And so now we need to, you know, wish you a Merry Christmas. Unfortunately, we don't have our last match because of Fred at Brion, and so that is going to be the end of the day.
Yeah,
these were the results. As you can see, Bro had to give up. They had to forfeit due to the fact that the director, I believe, of their academy roster was diagnosed with COVID.
Yep.
And because of head-to-head, we didn't actually have any tiebreakers either. So these are going to be the results. As Damwon, they go through with 4-0. KT doing exactly the same thing in Group B. And things looking a little bit cleaner in Group A as far as the score lines. But Hanwha Life, with head-to-head over Gen.G, will secure that second place.
Well, well, well.
Yep.
We'll get the rematch after all in the round of 6.
Yeah, so actually we do get that match.
Yeah.
Just unfortunately, it's tomorrow. It's just not today.
Well,
so I didn't lie.
Well, it's your Christmas present, Max.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. Hanwha Life versus Gen.G, and then Nongshim Red Force versus Live Sandbox. Winners of those games have to go on and play against Damwon Gaming. So if you're Hanwha or Gen.G, best of luck to you. Nongshim versus KT, genuinely, I think could be a very exciting game if they're the winners. Obviously, Live Sandbox do have a chance to take them down, but I think Nongshim have been looking quite promising.
I think Nongshim, they're the diamonds in the rough that KeSPA has showed us for this particular tournament. I know that if you guys have been watching Wolfcast, he's just a huge fan of this team, and I can see why. He likes because, you know, he's the world's biggest Rich fan, but I think we all are, and Nongshim are just really fun to watch. And then you've got Croco as well on Live Sandbox's side. These are two teams that have a lot of potential moving into next year, and you can see exactly like what the struggles are of having a team this early as well. So a lot of them still trying to, you know, get those get the shakes out at the very beginning, try and understand exactly what everyone's capable of, but the potential is certainly there.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward as well to seeing Hanwha having another shot at proving that they are the team
that we thought
they should be.
Yeah. We thought they were at the beginning of day 2 when they first showed up, and we're like, oh, they're really good. And then they played that second series, and we're like, ooh, not sure about that. But yeah, I think that they should be pretty comfortable. Hopefully Gen.G can go back, rewind the tape, see where things went wrong in that series, and then reapproach versus Hanwha Life and maybe give them a run for their money, if not take them down. This is my last day, so I'll just go ahead and put it out there. Whoever wins that, they're going to get destroyed by Damwon Gaming, I think.
Yes.
I don't think there's any hope in the world that they could probably, you know, beat them. It would be a post-Christmas miracle. It would. For a team if they could beat them. I'm expecting Nongshim Red Force to advance over Live Sandbox. And I actually don't. I kind of want to favor KT if they play with UCAL on the roster. They run, you know, their A squad.
Yep.
But if that doesn't happen, if they decide to still shift around the roster a little bit, I'm going to give that series to Nongshim.
I think so. I think so too. I actually think, you know, KT should definitely be the favorite. They're the team that's 4-0, but it could go either way. But that'll do it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you tomorrow.